Good evening.
Everywhere I go on this island, it seems to me I find degeneracy.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes. See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
We have a bargain.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Do you feel the pain? Always the pain, I can assure you, will be exquisite.
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
His entire work consists of violence, all the time, obsessed with the issue of violence. Mayhem, gouging out of eyes, autopsies on the stage.
Come. It is time to keep your appointment.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Double Feature Horror Show number 189, where we ask how many times this week will my mic kick me off? We are reviewing a couple of things this week. We've got a rare topic section return. Going to have a little talk about Final Destination Bloodlines, which came out very recently, and for obvious reasons for anyone who knows this channel, we will want to give a little quick review too. And then we're following it up with the member request Red Rooms. This is a Canadian, largely almost exclusively French language, I guess, psychological thriller, but it toys enough with the realms of horror and is frankly so good that I don't care. It's going in. It's allowed. We can cover it. It's fine. We don't even need to do a rogue stream for this one. Yeah, this was fun. This was fun. So this is all part of Member Mandate May. So if you are a member of the channel, I have just been covering your requests this month. We've got a couple more to go. Some of them are going to be bonus streams. It might be sort of interesting how we fit those in, but they are going to be covered. Some of them have been bumped to next month's Lovecraft Part 3. But if you are a channel member, you have not got a request in, do drop one and I will make sure that request is covered somehow. Right, I'm not looking at these films alone, of course. I never do. I wouldn't even dream of it. I'm joined by able co-hosts Murgoot.
Hello, everybody, and thank you to Adam Loves Horror for bringing this to us. It was very interesting.
Indeed, indeed. For anyone keeping score, Adam did also request The Dark and the Wicked a while ago, which we were very fond of and thought was a bit of a beauty. I believe you can best find that on Shudder. Very good film. It was actually double requested, actually. I believe Red Rooms was backed up by another member, but I'm not sure if they want to be named, so I'll hold off on that one, but it was sort of double requested, which is handy. TCG, welcome to the stream. Good to have you back again.
The children are locked in the bedroom. The booger sugar's being consumed, and we're consuming some alcohol tonight. We got a court case, so I thought I'd come in, prepared.
Good to have you, that Rakita guy.
Pleasure to be here.
Do you want to know?
I'll let you know when that happens.
So I've been doing this thing with the Spicy Boys down in Swindon. This coverage of David Lynch, right?
You want to know the spicy things I've been doing with the boys in the Bronx? You want to open that can of worms proper?
This weird little thing came up in the Lynch research, right? He goes through a couple of agents early on, and then for a while, he's landed with a well-connected agent by the name of Rick Nikita. And every time I read it, my brain auto-corrected and gave me some weird imagery. But yeah, David Lynch's agent for years was Rick Nikita.
Brilliant.
It's like, I just have in my head, Homer Simpson putting on the big mustache and, my name is Guy Incognito. Sorry. Oddity. It just sprung into my mind. When am I ever going to get to mention that bit of history again. How you doing, TCG? Has it all been a good week?
Yeah, it's been an all right week actually. Yeah, well, apart from yesterday.
Oh,
football.
This is a sporting thing. Yeah. What happened?
We're not talking about it. We're not talking about it.
I nearly introduced you as the Beppe to my, and then I couldn't remember the other Italian dude's name.
Did you say Beppe?
Beppe. You remember Beppe?
He's on Beppe. Yeah, I met him.
Who's the other one?
I'm sure it was like Giovanni or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's scratching. You scratch your head, don't you?
Yeah, but I actually met Beppe DeMarco.
Really?
Yeah. Long story.
God, you meet everyone. Dave Benson Phillips.
Yeah, met Dave Benson Phillips. Beppe
Other
DeMarco.
celebrities.
Yeah, I'll nutshell it. Yeah, so I was in hospital, right, and I got put in because basically there weren't enough beds, so I got put in the just put in a ward, like in the children's ward bit, and so I'm like just laying there minding my own business, and all of a sudden this like nurse comes through with Beppe, and and he's coming around to meet. He's coming around to like meet all the kids, and I'm like clearly the oldest one there. And he looks at me, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "What am I doing? What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, my dad's had a heart attack, and the nurses thought it'd be a good idea for me to come down and see the kids, like take my mind off." I'm like, "Oh my god, man, really? What the fudge?" It's like, "What are you doing here?"
Oh, what the heck? What the heck kind of shenanigan is that?
I know.
Oh dear.
Now I didn't want to, obviously I didn't want to go onto that ward, but I will quote. I'll never forget this. But the doctor turned around to me and was like, "Look, go in that ward because the nurses there are much fitter than on the general wards." And I was like, "Okay."
The PlayStation on his wall as well. They always have PlayStations on there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'm pleased to say that he didn't lie. He didn't lie.
TCG, the dirty old man.
I was just tuning my inner Nick Ricciardi, you know.
Blooming heck. All right. Well, I'll just say quickly, links to everyone's channels are in the description below. And as you know, I'm going to say, because we're on YouTube, if you want to chuck a couple of quid my way to help the channel run, help me justify buying all the weird books I buy for my research, then, you can use Super Chats, or you can join as a member either here or on Subscribestar, which will get you the chance to vote on what we cover on this channel, as well as get your request covered and get you exclusive content. Speaking of which, news on that, I am uploading immediately after this stream my commentary for Smile from 2022. That is done, that is recorded, that is put out. For some reason, it took 10 hours to process. What are you going to do? And there will be the Smile 2 discussion that I recorded with Poe's Law. That's going to come out the day after. So loads of stuff coming. So there you go. Join as a member, get access to that. Right. To be efficient. What is going on?
I love it. I love Dr. Prepper in there, mate. I love that. Give me money.
Oh, dear. Oh.
You need to incorporate that into your shill.
I have got to. I'll get a little clip on it.
Yeah,
I've got to beat Actual Justice Warrior with his give me the money. You give me the money.
Absolutely. 100%.
I've got to one up AJW. All right. Yeah, we'll work it in. We'll work it in. But to stay prompt and avoid the wrath of Super Nanny, who I've not seen around here recently. Now that I come to think of it, all the old laws back. Shall we quickly go into our topic on Final Destination Bloodlines? We'll just quick discussion of it. Won't go big on spoilers, but as this channel has a certain fondness for Tony Todd, it has been said, it would be nice to mark what is going to be his final major film. He's almost certainly going to turn up with voice cameos for a fair bit longer because he was prolific, but this will be sort of a nice way to cap off his career. And I know, Murgoot, you are not super familiar with the series, so...
no, ma'am.
Try not to leave you out in the cold with that one. You've seen the first one. Did you did you cram the last one, or?
No,
I know I didn't ask
I've
you to,
only
so-
ever watched the first one, and I watched it when it first came to cable. I enjoyed it, but not enough to watch the sequels.
That is a fair assessment. I
Ha-
think
I'm happy to go over it. Just need to establish first of all, are we going into spoilers at all, or are we because it's quite recent?
I would probably not go into spoilers.
Excellent.
Keep it light. Keep it light, basically. Although to a certain extent, I mean, Final Destination movies, everyone is the same.
Yeah, it
Look,
is.
how
It's
can we
the same
spoil
film
it?
reformatted. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is the same film. Although I will say, when it came to because obviously I went with my wife to go and see it last Friday, and as the trailers were sort of playing, we sort of turned to each other and we were like, you know, what do you think is going to happen? And she gave two scenarios that could possibly happen, and they both happened in the film. So like she was on point as per usual.
Nice.
Yeah. And I will say, man, it was so sad to see Tony Todd in this film. Like,
yeah.
You know, he gives a monologue. He gives a little speech to the people towards the end of this scene, and apparently the last few lines of it are completely ad-libbed, and it's sort of like a message to the fans. And I remember sitting there watching it, and I'm like, I'm not going to cry at this, am I? Like, I'm not going to shed a tear, am I? Like, Jesus, like, come on, man, don't do this to me.
I was worried I would. I mean, I held it in, but it's
Oh yeah, I didn't. I'm on, but like,
it's a nice one. It sort of breaks the mold because he's always been the mascot for the series loosely, whether turning up as this character or just being a voice. This is a nice change in the character. It's a different use of him.
Yeah, and also I quite like that he doesn't but his character does get an origin story of sorts, which is quite good, and it's quite obvious as to like, oh yeah, that's his origin story. Like before you're even introduced to Todd, it's like,
you know. Yeah, there's no prizes for guessing. It's
no.
It's a technique we've all seen a few times. So yeah, it's a lovely angle on him, and it's nice that the idea of him ad-libbing something a bit heartwarming. It's weird to have that moment of lovely sincerity in a movie that is sort of drenched in millennial irony. I could totally understand if it turned people off. The film, I feel like they have absolutely nailed the timing and the delivery. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know what they're doing, and they play with it wonderfully, and they really do not take it seriously.
Yeah, exactly. It is really in theme with the other films, which is really good, because one of the things we were worried about was obviously, you know, because it'd been a few years since they'd done one, and you know, we were really worried that they were going to butcher the story or like the idea of it. And I kind of like the angle that they went with in terms of sort of how we get to sort of like the events that sort of like lead out of the film. Although it does sort of retcon one major piece of lore about the film, which again, I don't really want to get into unless we were doing a proper spoilers review. But it was something that I picked out quite easily, because there are rules in this universe when it comes to death. And there was one specific rule that was established in one of the other films. And for this film to have worked, they've got to completely scrap that. And I thought, okay, that's quite interesting, because they sort of toyed with it a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're talking about a rule introduced in Final Destination 2. And we can say that and keep it light.
Yeah. And they obviously, they toy with it in that, but there is a get out of jail free card associated with that, or there is an argument that could be made when it comes to that particular rule. So yeah, but they do hardline what the actual rules are, and
But for this film, anyway, we got a brand new one introduced. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the Final Destination expert. I've seen them all, and I've seen several of them multiple times. I think the new rule we got was about if you take a life, you get the time that person would have had.
No.
Was that in previously?
That's an established rule, yeah. Because
gosh,
yeah, that's an established rule. So I'm talking about a different rule, and you'll know it because again, for this, all I'm going to say is for this film to work, that rule that was established in a previous film can't exist, can't be right, because it completely negates everything that's happened up to the point where you're watching this film. But yeah, the whole the whole take a life to get their life is something that was established. I think again in FD2, I think it was, or it was one of the other ones. I get them all mixed up these days. But yeah, the argument there is the workaround on that rule. Actually, now I think about it, is that there is a person who kills a person, but the argument is, well, perhaps that person didn't actually have long left, and so they got their remaining life, which was probably a few minutes, really. But yeah, there's another rule that's, as I say, there's another rule that has to be scratched in order for this film to work, which I'm fine with. Because again, it was sort of teased, but it wasn't really. But again, it wasn't really expanded on, I don't think.
No, there is a kind of ongoing thing in this series that although William Bloodworth here clearly knows a lot more than he says, they're kind of flexy on the rules because no one comes down and gives you it in like absolute categorical law. It's all people's kind of frenzied, crazed exploration, trying to piece the pictures together. Death never comes in and explains the rules exactly. Everyone just is trying to work out a piece of the puzzle. And we also get a lovely line later, which felt like a kind of, that moment in Austin Powers with Basil Exposition, just saying, don't try and work it out. Time travel, we'll just go cross-eyed, and then looks directly at the camera. And that goes for you too. And I think that's a moment when a character says, around death, the rules get a little crazy.
That's it. Yeah.
Don't stress about it. We're having fun here. This is a fun Final Destination movie.
It was. And also, for anyone wondering if they want to go see it and they're worried, I will say it right now. There is absolutely no wokery in this film. Absolute none that I detected anyway.
If there is, it's. I mean, I've got
really. I was
sniff it out at 200 paces.
I was so looking for it. I was actively looking for it in this film. I was actively looking for it, and I walked out and I turned around to my missus and I was like, you know what? Absolutely no wokery in that. At all. Nothing that I saw, because that would have ruined it.
Oh yeah, you'd have had to.
Because that's what
the only stuff is like 1990s level stuff. So we'll give that a pass. You have to really like tune up the intensity on your detectors to sniff it out. But otherwise, it is admirably uninfected by that stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but the point is, it stays in theme with previous titles. I think it's just it's consistent, and I think that for me was enough. Does overkill it a little bit with the CGI. There is some questionable CGI moments in this film, but again, do you know what? This film, watching it, I felt like this film knew what it was, and it didn't really bother me that much. But the death scenes are really creative. There's some really good bits of comedy in it.
Brilliant comedy.
Yeah. There's a little twist at the end. You get your typical twist at the end of the film that you get with previous other ones, which I thought was quite cool. And I love the way they did that, when it was like they say the thing and that guy, I'm not going to say what it was, but the guy who responds to it just goes, yeah.
I know exactly that moment. That was just that won me over. That was brilliant stuff. they named that guy after the creator of the series, which was kind of a fun little tribute. This was the other thing. There were so many lovely little tributes. I don't know if I'd said that already. Like little nods, like you see the log carrying truck from 2.
Yeah,
you get a sly reference to one of the characters, Clear Rivers. There's all sorts of things dabbed all about, and it's like it's not in your face at all. It's just there for you to appreciate briefly.
Yeah,
which was really nice.
Yeah,
nicely judged.
there's a book within it with the airplane from the first one. Also, in the opening scene, they're playing the song that's playing is the same song that's in the opening of is playing at the airport in FD1.
Oh, John Denver on an airplane, leaving on an airplane. Cozy.
Yeah, it's all like a lot of the music in that film. I think you can sort of tie it back to previous ones. I'll tell you what, if you want to get a deep dive on Final Destination lore, there's a channel. I'll pop it in the chat.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
Go for it.
I think it's called CZ's World.
I've heard that channel before. I think he does really good deep dives, doesn't he?
Really,
he's a good channel.
Yeah, really, really good deep dives. And he did a massive deep dive. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm going to go and watch it after this stream. But he did a Final Destination deep dive a couple of years ago, I think. And it's amazing. But yeah, he does all sorts of horror deep dives from like Chucky, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, the like the Annabelle sort of like stories and things like that. He does all sorts of stuff, and he's really solid content. Saw as well, if you're into that as well.
Around here, we're pretty fond of it. Yeah, good on him.
Yeah,
good on him. Nice. Well, I think the only other, I think we kind of covered it for a spoiler-free review. It's a
hard recommend.
Yeah, put it in context. If you like any of the series, this is up there. Yep. I would just like my personal order would probably be like 5, 1, and then this. It's like I like that 5 is a lot more serious. But if you want the comedy one, this nails it. This is the best of the more comedy Final Destinations, I'd say. Yeah,
I agree. We've said in the past that when it comes to horror and comedy, it's really difficult for those sorts of two genres to kind of blend. But there were genuine scenes in this film that sort of actually had us laughing in the cinema. They just worked, and there's like the one character who is the like the comedic element of it. He's bloody brilliant. Absolutely, yeah. He does a really good job.
Nails the timing. Oh, you know what? This is worth it, because especially if you think of like Final Destination 3 or the fourth one, The Final Destination. The problem with them, there were so many characters you hated. This one didn't hate any characters. Everyone was fun to be around. They're all great.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually quite true. Yeah, now that I think about it, I can't think of a single character actually that I thought, I really can't.
Yeah, the little bro comes in being a little bit of a D-bag early on, and then it's only for about one scene, and then you kind of like him. So it all works. It ends up working wonderfully. So yeah, I'm joining you in this TCG. It's a hard recommend. So that's our spoiler-free review. It's a lovely outing for Mr. Todd. You can tell that he is not well.
Big time, yeah.
But he acquits himself wonderfully. So yeah, good on him. It's a hard recommend, and we took a while to get to this. So you sent it in early, so I don't want to miss it. But Adam Loves Horror, thank you so much, not only for recommending Red Rooms tonight, but also for this, sending in $2 and saying some money for you and your bloodline, Todd Forever. Absolutely. The Toddifier absolutely gets applied in this film.
What would your burger rating be at this?
Oh, good question. Well, it's already got the Toddifier on. You know what? I think it would be best with people round. So if you got a few folks around for it to increase the atmosphere. I think it's a strong 10.
Yeah.
It's a great time. Look, it's not deep. There's lots of silliness in it. There's major retcons. The CGI can be a bit dodgy, but you're going to have a really good time with it.
Yeah, I was skirting between 8 and 9.
Mm.
I was skirting between 8 and 9. But yeah, I definitely recommend it. I think if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. I don't think you have to rely necessarily too much on the previous films if you haven't seen them. Murgoot, I'm talking to you. But yeah, I think I think this was one of the better ones that they've done. And I don't know. Do you know what? I look forward to seeing what they have installed for the future if they continue to do them.
That's a really good question. Are they going to do another one? I hadn't looked over. I didn't even actually check the directors. I should have, because it looks like totally new people from the last one.
Yeah.
A shame, because I really liked 5, but it's got a completely different vibe. I will check quickly. Yes, totally different dude. Totally different pair of dudes. Anyway, strong recommend for us. Strong recommend. And with that done, moving us on to the main topic for tonight, which is Le Chambre Rouge, Red Rooms. And just a reminder, if you're watching, you know how YouTube is. Give it a quick like if you haven't done the likes already. And I just saw 4 people duck out the second French turned up. Old habits die hard.
Do you know what? When I was watching this, I went, "Oh, please don't say it's French. Please don't say it's French. Please don't say it's French." And then they started speaking French, and I was like, "Damn it!
Ils ont parlé français. I'm booking it."
No.
Something Murgoot said in the DMs, like, you were there with me, Murgoot. Just, I felt so French shamed in this one.
Oh yeah, my French. I used to be fluent in French, and now it's horrible because I rarely use it. The one nice thing is Quebecois uses so many English loan words that it made it easier. Luckily, Adam let me watch it through his server, and his copy had the subtitles, which made things so much easier.
You totally need it. I mean, as you said,
Oh yeah.
am I wrong, or is that Quebecois accent a little bit fun? I like it.
Well,
I'm alone.
Parisians consider Quebecois like most Americans consider a deep Southern accent.
Maybe that's why I like it. It was just like such a fun sort of, I don't know, like a strong swing on every word just sounded a bit wrong in a really fun way. I loved it. But yes, I felt very ashamed of how much my French had absolutely fallen into the gutter from not using it. I used to work in this language, and now it's just in the toilet. Malheureusement. TCG, we're not on here to discuss the finer points of French accents, are we? Had you ever heard of this movie before?
Never heard of it. It was funny because last week when you mentioned that we were covering this one, I thought that because there was another film I think called Red Room or The Room or something like that. So I thought, and I just happened to stumble across that one, but it wasn't the one that I was thinking of. So yeah, never.
Yeah, I had to ask Adam whether it was Red Rooms or Red Room from 2019 or Red Rooms, the Japanese horror flick from 1999. And he gave me the correct movie. So thank you again, Adam.
Yeah, it's I don't know how you came across it, but I loved it. And I don't think I would have come across it any other way. I'd never heard of it before, got no inkling of it. So this was, I was going into it completely, what's the phrase, completely blind. And just had a great time. And I maybe let's give the briefest plot overview for people who haven't seen it, so you can sort of follow where we're going with this. Anyone desperate to do the pint of Guinness challenge, or I can have a go?
I'll do it really quick.
Oh, Star, thank you.
The enigmatic Kellyanne, fashion model and tech guru and professional gambler, is a trial watcher. She's showing up personally. She's camping out. She lives in a high fashion suite, but she's sleeping in the cornices of the courthouse, just waiting to get in first to be able to do trial watching. And it's the trial of an alleged serial killer and snuff film seller, Ludovic Chevalier. And it's not really explained at first why she's watching the trial, but she's very, very fascinated by it. And she meets up with one of Chevalier's groupies, Clementine, and they start hanging out together. And through the picture, you see Clementine being taught about Kellyanne's tech and her customized AI and their love of voyeurism of serial killers. You don't know if Kellyanne is pro-Chevalier or anti-Chevalier, but Clementine is definitely pro-Chevalier and very, very vocal about it. And as it goes on, they watch the trial, they get kicked out of the trial, and it gets more intense as it goes on, as Kellyanne's motives become clearer.
Yeah.
That screenshot you're showing now, I thought was actually my favorite scene of the film.
Intriguing. For people who haven't watched the film and are maybe only listening to this, what we're seeing is the screenshot of Kellyanne and Clementine watching the snuff films, and kind of every time someone's engaging with that, they're bathed. We don't see the content, we just see them bathed in a red glow. So anyone who hasn't seen the film, just listening to this, that's what's happening. And tell us about that, TCG. And thank you, Murgoot, for the summary.
So, yes, during the trial, it's established that there are two videos that the alleged killer, we'll say for now, made regarding two of his teenage victims. And there were three victims, two videos. One of the videos was never found. Was missing, yeah. Now, they're going to be shown at the trial. Clementine and Kellyanne are there on the day that they're going to broadcast the video, but then it's decided that they're going to do a closed viewing. So basically, only the jury and the people involved in the court would be able to watch it. So the gallery's ejected. I should mention as well, they do offer it to the parents. One of the parents, I think, decides to stay up until it starts. Anyway, Clementine is looking through the door, like the crack of the door, and she's commenting on how horrible it is. And then Kellyanne out of nowhere is just like, you don't want to watch it. You won't like it. How do you know that? And then it's established, well, actually, I've got the videos. Really? And then Clementine
has a low-key freak out.
Well, yeah, but yeah, she does. Yeah, she's spurging out a little bit because she's sort of criticizing, saying no, it's illegal. You can get arrested for that. And then she's like, I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And Kellyanne's like, you really don't. She's like, I want to watch it.
Do you want me to autism on this?
Go for it.
All right. What's happening in this scene? She's looking into the courtroom and they're discussing what you've said, right? Oh, you shouldn't watch it, but I want to see it. What's on the door?
Some French words.
Push
that I
and
don't
pull,
care.
right? Push and pull.
Oh, okay.
So the push, hey, it's illegal. You shouldn't do that. But the pull is no, I need to know.
That's not autism. That's intentional. That is intentional. Because after I watched this, I did a little bit of like, okay, what's this film actually about, man? Because I was a little bit confused, and the consensus of it is quite the same, and it led me to conclude that I feel like it's a personal attack on my character.
Well,
given the content I do, I say I do. I haven't done it for nearly 2 years, but this is why this is my favorite scene.
Yes,
because the contrast of these two, and almost like the way that Kellyanne is looking at Clementine, she's having this like genuine emotional reaction to obviously something that is terrible, right? And I swear Kellyanne don't blink, and like she'll look at Clementine at some points almost like she's disgusted at her, like it's almost like a disapproving look.
It's really hard to know what she's thinking because her emotion comes out so rarely.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's looking at her like, you wanted to see this. Why are you reacting like this? You wanted to see this. I told you not to, but you decided to. And it kind of does speak to, and I'm going to sound like I'm shitting on my own community here, but it does kind of speak to true crime. And there's a legitimate conversation, I think, to have there. Because
the voyeuristic urges of people, they want to see the most horrible things in life from the comfort of their living room.
Yeah, there is that element of it. Now, I mean, obviously, when I don't really feel I'm not going to sit here and defend my videos, but there are people who may sort of sensationalize the stories a little bit, or talk about the most gruesome bits. And there are stories out there, and actually, I've done stories where you kind of don't want to look, you don't want to look into it. And I've done videos where I've researched and I've come away looking like Clementine, like, oh fuck man, I wish I didn't look at that. I wish I didn't do that. But you keep going. But
people who make shrine of serial killers, and actually a lot of people.
I mean, Clementine,
especially women who become groupies of serial killers.
Yeah, I mean, you've only got, just like Ted Bundy, for example, is a massive example of that. And I think Clementine speaks to that sort of audience of women who idolize killers. And can't see them as doing any wrong, or even like,
or they're attracted,
or like fantasizing, like either physically or emotionally attracted to them, or thinking that they could be someone that could change that person, whereas Kellyanne kind of represents that true crime consumer who knows that the stories are real, knows that there are real lives affected, knows that it's grisly, but still wants to consume that, still wants to get it, almost finds it, it's almost indistinguishable from entertainment, I'm
so glad we've got you on.
Do you know what? As soon as I was like, damn it.
That are like, no,
and
it's
and I won't lie. I have part of the reason why I haven't done videos isn't just like work commitment, but I will say that I have been internally struggling with myself when it comes to these sorts of stories. I'm having this internal battle with myself at the moment. I'm like, if I continue down this road, how do I do it in a way how do I continue to do it in a way that I don't feel like I'm not, I never want to say glorifying, because I never glorify, and I don't believe that.
No, I don't think you ever did.
I know many people who do these videos, and I know that they don't glorify And I hate it when people come out there and say that and say shit like that, because I know some of these people and they take this shit seriously, proper seriously. But I almost feel like when it comes to this sort of content, there is kind of like a Wild West element to it. And you kind of do roll the dice when you make a video, and no matter how sensitive you try and be. And I've had this happen to me, and on both ends of the spectrum. You'll make a video, and my intentions for, I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to go into the details of that particular video, but I made that with the intentions of raising awareness, because this person's parole was coming up and there was a real chance that he was going to get out. And I was like, right, make this video, describe the, talk about, like, essentially, like, state, look, this is why this guy's in prison. There's a petition out there, get it signed, yada yada yada. And one of the family members reached out and was like, take it down, we don't want this, take it down. Okay, but fine, fair enough. But then on the flip side, you'll get other people where you'll make stories, and they'll approach you, and you'll be like, thank you for telling this story, thank you for handling it sensitively. It's a real conflict of the conscious, and this is why I say this film. I feel like this film personally attacks my character, man, because it literally does that. It's like it's almost describing a struggle that's going on, and it does make you think.
Subtly written. Like, no one gives you a speech telling you exactly what the screenwriter thinks, which is wonderful. It's a nice opacity, but within seconds I was thinking, this is horror addressing true crime, and like the 100%. The morality of that. Like, you don't have, like, horror fans. We've already, films from Funny Games onwards have sort of had a little prod at us.
Actually, it's funny you mentioned Funny Games, because I sent you a link where Mark Commode talks about it, and he actually references Funny Games. He does actually reference Funny Games in that review.
For good reason. Like, in that one, it's questioning, like horror fans, why are you paying to see this? This is some messed up stuff. And with true crime, it's like they're once again saying, what are the ethics of looking deep into this, where it's not even fiction. These are real people, and it's dealing with the effect of getting so close to that. And I want, so this doesn't go cold, I want to say thank you again to Adam for sending $2 in, saying we got 75 minutes into the movies real quick. I know, we're far too prompt, are we? That was an actual length topic. Don't worry, we will not keep that up. I'm planning on covering the history of the MPAA, the American Film Ratings history. So there's no way we're going to stay timely on that. So don't worry. But that's big research. I've got to record all the David Lynch stuff first before I get into that. But thank you again. And we might jump around on here. We might be a bit more thematic with Red Rooms. We'll see how this conversation goes. But thank you again.
Back to the true crime aficionados being attacked when Kellyanne goes through the crypto auction for the third film, and watching her joy and nervousness. He's playing video poker for Bitcoin to very, very high stakes Bitcoin poker. And she ends up winning it and watching it. And just the change from stone face to frowning to the subtle smile to frowning to a subtle smile to stone face to almost abject horror.
It's in complete contrast to the earlier screenshot that you showed. You get the vibe that, she's seen this video. It's almost like she's desensitized to it, because it's something that she's watched like a few times, quite a few times. She's almost consumed it. But what she's seeing here is something that's new, it's unique, it's fresh.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say you roboted a bit there. If you could take that again.
It's something that's new, unique, fresh. It's almost like it is like a new story, effectively, or or in this case, I would say it's something along the lines of a development in in an already sort of talked about story. And and she's got she effectively has the scoop on it, and it's really interesting what she does with that information. Because because essentially what she does, for those who haven't seen the film, is earlier in the film she's almost like stalking. I wouldn't say stalking the family, but she's basically got she's managed to find the address as to where they live. The victim, this young girl's victim's family live. She breaks into the house, but she cracks the security codes because by the way, this girl is a top tier hacker as well. She breaks into the house and then
the code. She
and
unlocks the door and then locks it and then walks away. She follows the instructions of, near the end of the film, the person who's going to be posting the snuff film. It shows them using the anonymous server. It shows them, are you a real person? Show your face, show the code. Go to a payphone if you can find one, or a burner phone so that we can give you the code. It explains all that, granted in a Hollywood fashion, but that's some of the steps that a lot of people use for really, really tetchy stuff, especially cheese pizza or it's not like Lively, but it's secretive, anonymized people for real life snuff incidents, or like I said, cheese pizza.
Rotten.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of that nature. I will say, kudos to this film for actually making a good case why you would want to be on the dark web. Like, the guy was very clear that it's, it was balanced. It's like, well, literally the privacy, because on the mainstream net, like, everything is covered. Anyone who's looked into the Prism stuff, or I know something that I recall was before Tucker Carlson went to Russia, and he pointed out basically he got government intercepts, and it's like, so that means they're reading my messages on my phone because I haven't told anyone about this. It's like, so like this film makes a kind of
it's a very balanced
case for why you would want to use it, that it's not all dodgy.
Which, given this is a Canadian film, is a massive, massive surprise. But I totally agree, actually, because they're talking about Tor, aren't they? And and the way that he presents it, it's almost like, bad stuff happens on there, but here's the primary reason for it. And also, I should point out as well, illegal stuff happens on the surface web as well. Like, it happens everywhere. Unfortunately, this is just one of the. He essentially is like, it happens. It's one of the kickbacks, but it's one of the downsides, but it's not the primary reason for it. It's protecting protecting your yourself online. It's also important for people like journalists, dissidents, to use. And I love as well that he does make a point of referencing the journalists and the dissidents as well, because it does talk to those people who do have dissident views on the way like government perform, government.
I was very surprised.
Really took me by surprise that, and I was a bit like, okay, I can appreciate, because it's a very balanced. I totally agree. It's actually quite a balanced explanation, and when it's
also correct. It's a good layman's.
That's it. It's correct. That's the way. Yeah, that's perfect. It's correct. You hear, especially, and it's so contrast when you hear how things are explained, sort of like in the mainstream nowadays. I say nowadays, the film's 2 years old, but like when you hear things explained in the mainstream, you get a very sort of almost like a script as to how it should be described. Bad thing, bad. And we will highlight the bad things of the thing that we have deemed bad. Whereas
you didn't get that here. It was like, yeah,
Mm.
this stuff happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't. You know, that's one of the pitfalls, but this is why we have it. It's protection, primarily.
I think
If
it
you've got-
matches that intelligent writing of Kellyanne in that we are not just given didactics from her. She is balanced. She is cryptic. She is hard to judge.
Big time. Big time.
This film is all about that balance in a really impressive way. And like it, we'll try and piece apart a little of what she's doing, because even at the end, it's not entirely clear what she was after. There's like if you're on the point of she's all good, you've got a particular moment which I've got a screen cap of, which we should look at, that throws out.
Where she dresses up as a schoolgirl with the blood.
Oh my lord!
Just to get a reaction out of Chevalier, and gets dragged out of the courtroom.
You're torn on that. I mean, I think we have the same interpretation that ultimately she was testing him.
Yeah,
she wanted his reaction, and then she could judge it. But we've got some hints of this. Before we go into those hints, though, I just want to, in praising this film for its balance, I was tickled a little bit from that early scene, the first scene with the long shot, very impressive. I was so impressed with how this kind of functions like a bizarro version of 12 Angry Men. Like anyone who's been around this channel knows I have a somewhat complex history with that film. I think it's deeply subversive propaganda. But this film kind of had the same approach the Juror 8. I'm just asking questions. I'm just being skeptical. I'm saying it's possible he's not guilty. They had the guy, the defense attorney, do that routine on a guy who looks dodgy. Where's my dodgy boy? Let's get my dodgy boy up here. I've got
Do you know, I'm so glad you said that, because even though I've not seen the film, obviously Deep Law, I know you, I know how much you appreciate that. Well, I say appreciate, but I know how much, I know how opinionated you are on that particular film. And when they were doing those opening statements, as soon as the defense geezer turned up, I was like, "Oh, mate, please be like 12 Angry Men." Like, I was kind of hoping that this film would be more centered around the court and more of the jury side, because I messaged you too early on, hence why I was like, let's get Nick Mercator up on every screenshot when it comes to the court, because I feel like it's going to be one of those films, and evidently it wasn't. So,
well, it was until Kellyanne got tossed out of court, and then it just went from there.
No, I don't feel like it was. It was sort of following her, but another thing I will, before I lose my train of thought, is I'm so glad that I'm not the only one who didn't really fully understand or like fully get what Kellyanne's motives were. And I think it kind of speaks again, sort of like to the conflict of, if you're a true crime consumer, what are you looking to get out of it, and what is your justification for it? Because what she does at the end could be deemed good because it reaches a point, it achieves a goal that is set out at the start of the film, but the methods in which she gets there are obviously questionable, as well as what her
it's a matter of ends justify the means.
But there is also like that sort of self-gratification element of it, and that
the selfie in the bedroom was just disturbing.
Again, it really makes and that makes you question
this
that bit. Smile.
Adam Loves Horror is 100% correct.
And Dr. Prepper, they specifically mention physiognomy in the courtroom.
Yeah, they do.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you. I mean, I was worried there was going to be a really bad twist there. Like, it was the guy on the jury, but thank goodness the film is not stupid. I was really worried they were going to do that. But
I thought that. I thought it was going to be someone in the jury.
Well, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, I was wondering if Kellyanne was actually involved rather than a spectator.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you are
I
meant
was thinking
to.
that. Yeah, I was thinking because there was one bit like again towards the end of the film where she's leaving the apartment, she's like freezing the cameras, isn't she, with her mobile, like something out of bloody Watch Dogs, and excuse me, the light that she's walking as she's walking towards the exit or wherever it is she's going, there is like a red light, a big red light. And
She's
I'm thinking,
going into
she's going
the
into the red
storage cages looking for her server.
Yeah.
And then out the back door so nobody could see her. And that's where I was like, she hosting these films, or is she just watching them?
Can I show you a moment that is talking directly to what you're saying?
Go for it.
Do you remember the second photo shoot we see where it's flashing? It's very dark and it flashes and you see things for a brief second?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
The black versus the white.
It's the mask, isn't it? Yeah.
I know this looks a bit mad, but right. What we see a few photos of her with a mask. I took about 10 minutes trying to get these screen caps because it was a nightmare. But what's one of the major pieces of evidence? You get a close-up of the killer wearing a mask. You can only see the eyes, right? So we see one version of her in the one photo shoot with a brief glimpse where she's in the mask. And then, this was the best I could get of it, I'm afraid. There are several... Don't worry, she hasn't got my out. It's all good. I know it's French, but...
They'd be very little Britishers anyway.
Exactly. I don't even need to bring the Britisher out for these.
Yeah,
anyway.
Itty bitty Britishers.
I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't have the obligatory lesbian scene, which very surprising considering I was expecting it and never got it, and I welcomed that fact that they played it straight rather than oh god, excuse the phrasing.
You really wanted that Nephilim Hobbit match, you know?
Yeah. Oh god, no, they didn't do that, and I was very appreciative of that.
No, they didn't. Just to finish off, so we saw in this second photo shoot, we saw the one version of her wearing the mask, and the next outfit she's wearing, she's got a blindfold, right? And I'm sorry,
it's like face paint. It's like paint over her eyes, isn't it? It's not not a mask, but it's like an inversion.
Yeah.
Because in the other ones, you can't see the face, but you can see the eyes, and in this one, you can't see the eyes, but you can make out the faces.
And who else is blinded? Lady Justice.
Okay.
So is she dealing out the justice, or is she the perpetrator? We see both versions of her in this photo shoot, both costumes that she puts on, right? So this photo shoot is directly addressing that ambiguity that we feel throughout the film, and the fact that we only see these briefly is like, yeah, we do not have a clear shot of these. We're in the dark for this, trying to work it out from flashes we get. Brilliant scene, excellent symbolism.
The other bit of symbolism that made me question her motives was the contrast between her teaching Clementine squash and in their white squash uniforms, and then when Clementine leaves and Kellyanne gets fired and goes to blow off steam and play squash by herself, she's in a black uniform. Is this a villain turn? That's what I was thinking at that point.
Nice. Very nice catch. Yeah. Yeah. There is they clearly have put lots of thought into this, I think, in just keeping you guessing. And I think there's an element of kind of you having to get your hands a little bit dirty. Because we see with the, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox for this one, the time I will expound my full thoughts on our justice system will be in my video on law-abiding citizen, which I will probably never get to make. But I will unleash when I do that video. But for the moment, it's just to say that the film kind of shows us how things would go if the system went on uninterrupted. You know, basically a lawyer making the case of, yeah, the bodies were found in his yard, and there's a video where basically it's him, and the files were on his computer. But I'm just saying it's possible that randomly these bodies ended up in his yard and these files on his computer. You don't know. You don't know. It could be faked. You know, you get full juror 8 now working for the state.
Clementine was a nice. Basically, she was a big red herring. Her comments about the Canadian justice system, not comment, rant.
Yes.
About on the TV show Call-In. Her rant to the cameras at the courthouse.
Mm.
And then
she was basically the female Alex Jones, and I'm not talking about the one that hosts the One Show on BBC.
No. Well, I'm glad you mentioned her. TCG, we saw your favorite scene earlier. This is my favorite scene.
Oh.
Okay,
Clementine's rant.
Yeah, I loved this.
Is the host James O'Brien?
Oh, basically, isn't he?
Basically, yeah.
Smug shit lib, just like
thinks he's higher than the Almighty, quite literally.
The chat. I don't know if that's an actual show, and I apologize for not looking it up. I assume it's not, but it was called, was it More Catholic Than the Pope? And it was just like Clementine gets to drop some what do they say, truth nukes on that show about how basically they're all shit libs pushing the same opinion.
Pipe bomb.
Yes, the cutting a promo on her.
CM Punk, pipe bomb, boom.
I love it. She gets to drop some truth, but the framing on this is absolutely beautiful. If you are only listening to this stream, I beg you to just look at these images in particular. But this framing here, where it's like the TV is kind of like her head is in front of it, but it's like the TV is half in her head. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like, there's a TV in front of her, but the way this is shot, so it's like the TV is invading her brain, like pushing into her. This happens for a while, like they're just needling her. The hosts are shown to look into her, right? Getting into her head very literally. And then she ends up calling in, having the conversation. And they're presented in this kind of faux religious garb. She's literally looking up and talking at them. They are above her. It's showing the idea of like the media are the religion. They are, like the voice from on high. She is literally a peon in front of them. And then after basically arguing with James O'Brien, that experience of just, and I'm sorry, we try and be family friendly, but the kind of encounter with stage 4 smug prickery that is on display here, she ends up just broken. This scene is absolute S tier. I love this so much.
It's the way you described them is unironically like so true, because you notice throughout that exchange they never actually offer like one real counter argument to her. Essentially what it boils down to is they just call her insane and she needs to speak to a therapist.
Yeah,
which is something you would absolutely expect that the likes of James O'Brien or Ian Dale or any one of these shit libs that you see on the TV, like Susanna Reid, whatever, on Good Morning Britain. That's the sort of thing. They don't really have. They don't have a independent thought, if you will. There's a set agenda, set narrative, and it's funny because they are right, but
Oh, yeah.
it is presented in this. They're right, but it is presented in a way that almost makes you think like, why aren't they actually countering her? Like I get sometimes that, I know they say like you can't argue with stupid, but they with the evidence that was available to them, they should have been able to sort of punch back.
Totally. It's the brilliant balance.
But they just don't, yeah.
It's the balance of this film. Yeah, Clementine is actually wrong and Ludovic Chevalier is guilty. But her points about the media are nailing it. They give her the John Oliver treatment, where you alternate between Mr. Deep Serious Science Man when you've got something you can cite. But when you've got nothing, suddenly you're Mr. Safe Edgy Standoff. Whoa! Why are you being so serious? Why do you care about this? I'm just making jokes. You're so silly for thinking this. I think we probably all read that copy pasta about how John Oliver works, about just sort of not addressing the argument, just like they don't, but just mocking you. Just mocking. Can you believe someone even said this? Is it true? It doesn't matter. It's ridiculous they even said it. And you're like, and then you also start to think, sorry, I am on soapbox here, guys. I'm sorry. You activated my trap card here. The hate for John Oliver is fueling me, but it's like the fact that they are on this show, and I might not bring you along with me on this TCG, but they're on the show taking the piss out of Catholicism. I'm not a Catholic, I'm not a Catholic myself, but they're doing that and they're mocking, they're having a big laugh over the murder of 3 blonde, blue-eyed white girls,
Yeah.
And I'm like, can I see a Christchurch episode, bros? I don't.
Yeah.
Were you yucking it up when George had his last?
But can I just say,
his last banana? Were they doing that? I don't think they were.
Yeah.
Sorry,
can I just say, as I was watching that particular scene, it is really interesting, isn't it? Like they're almost offended. And again, this actually does happen. Like there are people out there that will, when they present these crimes, they'll almost do it they will make some sort of jokey references and little quick 1-2 punchlines about these actual deep, serious issues. And it's really prevalent there. And it's almost like they're hypocritical in that, they're quite happy to mock. And they even do it after the call ends. So before, they're having a little laugh and a joke about it, when the reality is there's 3 teenage girls dead, right? Murdered in the most brutal fashion that you can imagine. Clementine comes on and is like, look, you know what? You're all wrong. She's wrong. But you're all wrong, and here's why. And they're like, well, hold on a minute. Did you? How can you say that? This guy's clearly guilty. He is guilty. But that humor drops, and all of a sudden now we have to be the morally superior ones. And then after the call ends, that bald-headed twat who's on the panel, he turns around and says, most people start their careers in a garage, start their businesses up in a garage, like again making a little joke about this what is a really deep-rooted, deep situation.
Let's get her on screen for a second. See what's being joked about. Here we go. Where is it? There you go. That's what they're joking about.
They're literally joking about that. Yeah. I mean, I have no words. I have no words because again, it's speaking to something that it's speaking to a type of content that I have produced, and I'm watching it, and I'm taking it. I'm looking at the criticism, and I'm sort of saying to myself, yeah, but where's the lie?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Her commentary about the Canadian justice system and just rattling off how it's supposed to work and why their smugness is wrong and they should be following what the Canadian law actually says. Innocent until proven guilty. How can you know what it is when the evidence isn't all in? That kind of thing. she's right on that, but she's wrong in the larger picture.
Yeah, she's all she, the logic, the thought process is there. It's just the conclusion that's wrong.
Yeah.
That's
also
all it is.
motivated,
It's just the conclusion.
isn't it?
Yeah.
She's saying that because she's very emotionally attached to
she wants
Chevalier.
to be innocent. I think it's because I think if anything, because she gives an interview at the end, because naturally when she's presented with the 2 videos of the girls being murdered, it's very much a reality. It's reality hits her in the face, and she's like, "No, this is the guy."
Yeah,
and you could just, and it does feel like she's projecting her own insecurities and onto this guy. Onto this guy that she just wants to be innocent so badly, because and there's.
This is after the resolution of the trial.
Exactly.
After Kellyanne has pulled her morally questionable, morally reprehensible reveal of breaking into the house in the middle of the night, futzing with the electronic locks, letting herself in, taking the safety, and then creeping into the parents' room and leaving the USB stick with a film of their child being eviscerated and dismembered.
Yeah.
It's, I mean...
Again, like, she could have just handed that into the authorities, but, anonymously, but she chose to do it in a way that would give maximum trauma, maximum drama. Which again, when you're
is even more disturbing than it's as not more, but as disturbing as Chevalier's crimes.
It's a different level, isn't it? It's a different level, but the scales are almost like evenly balanced.
Callousness of doing that to the family.
Yeah. And that might explain why she takes the photos in their daughter's bedroom. And
well, that cute smile she puts on, and she's wearing the blonde wig and the school uniform, and she's just taking the selfies like she's proud of herself. And it's disgusting.
It is, yeah.
She's not an anti-hero, she's an anti-villain. She is the villain of peace. She's doing the right thing for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I like that lens. I really like that lens. I just cannot really put her in a particular box. Anti-villain probably works best because, as you say, does she just totally distrust the system? And that's why she wouldn't give them the file? No, that doesn't explain why she also does this. Go into the room, take the creepiest selfie of all time. There are some deep psychological weirdness going on with her.
Well, she gets fired because of her edginess. She gets removed from the photo shoot first because she's too edgy, but her agent tells her, we'll back you up, you're edgy, we'll just find you something else. And then she pulls the stunt in the courtroom where she has the blonde wig, puts in the blue eye contacts, takes off her coat, and she has the school uniform on. And everybody freaks out. And then she's fired from every job that nobody will work with her.
Can I point out on this is so beautifully framed that it uses a lot of very flat angles, or rather I should say naturalistic angles, and then it just lets was it Juliette Garepe? It lets her performance shine. I this might look a little bit goofy, this screen cap, but I chose it very deliberately, because when she's putting the braces in, it's like she kind of snarls, and this gorgeous woman becomes really quite bestial there. It's like there's a moment of danger as she's baring her teeth. It's like you see there is serious danger with her.
I mentioned in our discussions backstage that after watching this and seeing her, I had to look up. I never found an answer, but is she associated with everybody's
another Jay Garripe?
Yeah. Is Juliette Garripe related to everybody's favorite white supremacist podcaster and murder suspect? And I seriously looked that up. JF Garripe.
But no luck.
Francois Garripe.
No luck. Before we go further with that, I just Adam, you're bankrolling me this episode. Much appreciated. Thank you, friend. The important issue, Clementine Wood.
Clementine? No, she looks like. Hang on a minute. I'm going to.
Kate Micucci.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
All right, you're going to look her up. Chat, you can weigh in on this one. I like the tiny thing. She looks like Kate Micucci. Right. I think she's cute. No, I like the kind of grungy thing going on.
She looks like a female Rami Malek.
I don't know. It kind of works. No. All right, my taste may not be representative. I think she's cute. She's got big eyes. It's adorable. Her story is tragic, but she's a cutie. It's a Wood. I suppose we should complete. Kellyanne.
Wood. Although
with a step ladder.
Too skinny.
You don't need a step ladder when they're you don't need a step ladder when they're horizontal.
I shouldn't have gone down this road. All right. I think we appreciate a diversity of females on this show. With that accepting.
Well, she's beautiful and she's tall enough for me, but she's way too skinny and following engineer's dating rule number one. Excuse my phrasing, but don't stick your dick in crazy.
Hallelujah, brother.
Rude.
Hallelujah.
Rude.
Yeah, if we're talking about a character, no way.
What if she dressed up though?
No,
Still too skinny.
Sorry. Oh, taking us into terrible places. It's all that super chat, Adam. It's really we've just been perverted by your influence. You've led us astray, my friend. This was a good family-friendly stream.
It was.
Back to just don't mention the Josh Hartnett stuff, and we're fine. No one needs to know. It's all good. It's all good. Do you remember that intro where I just turned it into topless Asian dudes for Harrian's benefit?
Yeah, I do.
That was a good.
Have we still got it?
I don't know. I'd have to dig that out. I don't know where I would find it, but
don't play it.
Anyway, so thank you again for the 2 super chats, Adam. Yeah, this about the scene, something I never experienced yet. This was an extremely powerful moment. Like this absolutely hit me. Like to put this in perspective, like the film opens in a very meta way with someone dryly recounting the crimes that have happened to the 3 victims. You know, they are nasty, like violation, mutilation, etc.
Evisceration,
yeah, nasty stuff. You see none of it. And it's the moment of her putting in braces, taking off her coat and changing outfit. Hits you like a ton of bricks. This
you have a
floored me.
screenshot of Chevalier looking over at her and smiling.
I don't have him smiling, but I've got the eye contact.
He does a finger wave. But can I just say, again, this is something that this film really taps into when it's talking about true crime. And it's there's the there does seem to be a need to know, to see. There's that sort of morbid curiosity that goes in with it, and I will openly admit, guilty is charged in this film for this film. Hence why I'm that guilty guy. Is that you do want to sort of like, what's actually happening? What can I see? Because I know I don't want to see that shit, but there's that there's that sort of like, but go on, so do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've seen some shit.
Stuff you can't put on the YouTube. Like when it comes to it,
the name Nick Berg still sends shivers down my spine to this day.
Okay,
Murgoot, yeah.
No, there are two very blurry screenshots. All it shows is the red light in the garage and the blood splatter everywhere.
Yeah,
and then
I've
shot
got
of
that for you.
man with crinkled eyes. Yeah,
like you're distanced from this. You're sat behind them, so your mindset is still on them. It's not the thing; it's on them watching the thing. But they have given you an indication. This might seem like a weird comparison. I don't know. I think I mentioned this like a week ago. I don't know what's going on. It's on my mind. But the now very awkwardly cast Hard Candy, starring Ellen Page, back in the day, way back in the day, if you get me. That was also about illegal material of a cheese pizza variety, and the way they dealt with that was, I thought, similarly delicate, in that more so in that case in Hard Candy, you literally cannot show it. You cannot even show simulations of it, even if you were to think that is proper to simulate it for artist's sake.
Which, to
so
be
they
fair,
had to work around it quite hard. This had a bit more leniency in what it can do, but it very tastefully does not do it.
And I can appreciate that, because actually it does. I think it does do more ultimately for the. When I say it does more, I think it gets more of a reaction from the viewer, because if you're watching that scene as they're watching it, sure, you're going to get that initial shock value, but you again. Like pennies. Oh my god, pennies literally just dropped me. But again, if you've seen it once, it doesn't hit the same the second time, the third time, the fourth time, which would explain why Kellyanne is reacting to the video the way she's seen it. It's done. Whereas she knows what's going to happen. It's not shocking. It's not a surprise. It's not disturbing. She's desensitized to it. Whereas if you don't see it, if you're just hearing the sounds of the screaming, there are 1,000,001 scenarios which can play in your mind as to what could be happening, and each time would be essentially, a unique sort of. It's just like a unique experience. So for the person viewing the film, I think it does more to not show. And I just want to touch upon the points that you were saying, Murgoot, where they were sort of not trying to show things, but where they were sort of giving you small glimpses. There's that other bit as well, where the mother was giving testimony about her daughter and the things that she was wearing that day, and they mention the fact that her daughter was wearing braces, and then they show a picture on the court of her jaw with the braces in, but you can't really see it, but you get the shock. Because it's literally up for a moment, because there's an instant objection, and then it's withdrawn, and then that question is withdrawn, so they have to take the picture out. But it's almost like blinking, you miss it. But you get that visceral reaction from the court when that image comes up, and they make a point like, it doesn't matter that that's been withdrawn from the record now. That the damage has been done. Like
that's a really good catch. Yeah.
That's
a really good catch, DCG.
It's not attached to that, but one of the things, since you've got this screenshot up, it's mentioned by the agent that Kellyanne's known for being edgy. It's really, really subtle, but she wears a St. Peter's cross on a chain throughout the entire movie. The upside down cross to be edgy.
It is quite subtle, isn't it? Because it looks equal length. Is that the one she's got on right there in the screen cap?
And that's a St. Peter's cross. You can't tell at first, but in this scene and later scenes, it's definitely the upside down cross.
Right. Yeah. I found the first time she was told off for being edgy and she lost a job, I was like, I wasn't sure what that was for. Like, was it because she was seen at the courthouse? I couldn't work out what she had done.
I think it was it was her wearing a school uniform and things like that because
No, it was before that. It was before that. The first job cancellation was before that.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
So it just confused me what she had done. I couldn't pick that out.
I think it might have just been her appearance.
Well, the first one, she was canceled because it was right after she was photographed being a court watcher. And Clementine's comments and just the look on her face, you're being too edgy. We have to pull you off the shoot.
That's right.
And then she pulls the stunt in the courtroom, and she gets fired and dropped by her agent.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm coming back to this because I'm obsessed with this scene, and I know I said it absolutely floored me, but I don't think I asked how it hit you guys, and I'd just love to hear like your visceral reaction when this happened.
It just seems so strange to me. And I remember that order now, because Murgoot rightly pointed out. Because I actually DM'd you guys. I'm like, my God, you get cancelled, get one like little tiny cancellation, and you just turn into like a deranged schoolgirl. I just think this is just typical of the character and how they just nail it. Like, you just don't know what her motives are. Like, why is she doing it? Like, is she just?
Well, she goes into the courtroom in the blonde wig, and she pulls the barrette out and puts it in her pocket, and that's what they stop her at the metal detector, and it's the braces and the hair barrette, and they let her through, and it's an and then she takes off her coat, and the red cardigan is under it, and you're like, oh crap!
And it's on his birthday. Yeah, that's another thing as well.
What
that's a great. That's exactly it. Yeah, because they mentioned as well it's his birthday. And again, that's what I'm saying. It talks about. Oh my God! Yeah.
Oh, so that's another one. Like, is this a present to him?
Yeah, is it a present to him? Is it trying to get a reaction out of him? Do you know what I mean? I couldn't understand it.
I went through so many things from this, and I even missed the is it a birthday present to him? Because I thought she's been fired for going there as a court watcher. It's caused trouble. Okay, she's put a blonde wig on to disguise herself, but she can't look away. That's what she's doing. And then this happens, blows my mind. And then, oh no, it's okay. She's doing it to get her to check how he reacts because she's not made her mind up. But I haven't even considered that the other option is this is a present to him. And I wondered if it's this thing of where is he? This guy, interestingly, and maybe as a challenge to true crime, is basically inert for the whole movie. So like if you're fascinated with the murderer, this movie like completely mogs you because it gives you nothing.
Yeah, there are certain stories in true crime. Sorry to interrupt, but there are certain stories in true crime. And again, I mean, you can probably just skip through the library videos I've done. There's ones where, the story is very sort of victim focused, or there's a big story behind it, and then the sort of like the killer is isn't an integral part to that. And then there's other stories where it is pretty much a biography of a specific person, or even persons. So, and this guy would sort of fall into the former. You get a little bit of information about him, but the story isn't really about him. It's about the victims.
Yeah, he's deliberately, consciously sidelined and not lionized. But this, I think that's deliberate, TCG. I think it's deliberate.
Oh yeah, 100%. But what I will say is though, and again, because there's some people who criticize the fact that there's stories that focus heavily on killers as opposed to victims. What you'll find is with a lot of people who will make those videos and do those stories it's just because of the way the information that's out there is slanted so heavily in one way. Honestly, if you're trying to do a story and you want to try and get information about sort of the people that you really want to sort of like make the story about, if you're trying to memorialize them in a way, so sometimes there's just not a lot of information. And actually trying to reach out to people who might be connected can either be unobtainable, or it just might not feel appropriate, especially if it's something that's recent, that takes place recently. It's not something that really would be appropriate. But but in terms of if you were building a narrative of this specific story, you were doing that in a true crime format, this guy would be sort of like, I would describe him as sort of like the big reveal. Like you go through a story where it's almost like, think of like a Scream movie. The victims are dropping dead, and it's sort of like who it's almost like a whodunit, and that's how this film works actually, because at the end the big reveal is he done it. Yeah. But it's so obvious. But he done it. But that's how this would be. That's how this would be presented if you were doing it as a video to an audience, if you will.
Yeah. I like the build up where Chevalier is almost disinterested, only leans forward when they're showing evidence, especially the films. And then she pulls the stunt of dressing up like a schoolgirl, and his composure breaks, and he starts smiling.
Yeah, and he does that like weird finger wave.
Yeah. It's a total nonce wave.
And it's at that moment you're like, it's him. And I think I think she realizes it as well.
I wondered if there's also an aspect of you stare into the abyss and the abyss stares back into you.
Yeah.
Because she does this, but there is a darkness in her after that. We get a nice bit of symbolism later. I mean, another nice bit of symbolism. This is when she's bidding on the file. And this slightly breaks the logic of the scene because half her face is red. Now, usually you only see the red when there is one of these snuff films playing. There is no snuff film playing at this point, but the idea is she is trying to get her hands on it.
It's almost like she's trying to push through the veil.
Yeah, well, there's that. It's it could also be she's half in, half out. She's got her dark side, she's got her light side. This is the one. I think her reaction to here, as I see it, is basically, I've got the proof I needed to put him away, maybe, is one reading of it. But then immediately after, she pulls this stuff. And it's damn it, I don't know who she is. Gosh darn it. Oh, by the way, Adam has made good use of his congratulations. 1 year. Nice. 1 year membership.
Speaking of birthdays.
Yeah, nice. I think when he sees that, she recognizes his eyes. I think so too, yeah. I mean, there's so much in this. And can we just have a huge thanks for them not getting anyone giving us a monologue to camera to explain clearly what's going on?
Yeah.
We are in delightful ambiguity here, and we are just trusted as an audience to come to a decision. make our own minds up.
Yeah, I feel like I mentioned this in the chat just a minute, not long ago, but I feel like she's that kind of, because we talk about her abilities as a hacker, and you know, her inner 4chan abilities, you know, are exposed. I feel like she's kind of like the internet sleuth that would be, if you would sort of like talk about what an internet sleuth would be in sort of like in media terms, she would be sort of like that one where, you know, their intentions may be seen as good. And again, I'm talking about like this is dialed up to 11, you know, because ultimately what she does, the intentions are good. Like what she does is could be seen as good because ultimately the guy is put away. He confesses to the crimes and he's put away. But the ethics and the morals to get to that point are completely arse backwards. And one of the things that a lot of internet sleuths get criticized for, and you know, and to a degree rightly so, is that their intentions may be seen as good, but more often than not, they can actually hamper an investigation, or they could even potentially even, you know, set a case back by overstepping the boundaries and perhaps doing things that they shouldn't be doing in order to, like, say, to get to the truth. And I feel like she is perhaps like a hyper exaggerated version of something like that. Because it does seem like throughout the film she's doing a lot of investigating, a lot of, you know, because you see through the emails, the passwords, that, you know, the videos, everything.
Yeah, it's very. I've just been reminded now of like Lisbeth Salander from Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That sort of amoral, not really. Yeah, I mean, anti-villain. Let's keep using that. I think that kind of works. Someone whose mission will do good, but it's almost like that's not the main point of it. Like it might have been a challenge to her. We've had a couple of super chats that really point to this.
Wow.
I want to again, Adam, you are absolutely spoiling me. I say that with some humility, being English, but genuine gratitude. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much, sending in $10 and saying she gave the drive to her. And by the way, brilliant filmmaking in that they used such a distinctive flash drive that looked dangerous, like it had little spikes on it. It looked dangerous, and it contained something dangerous. So great that she didn't need to say what it was. We just instantly recognized that drive. Brilliant. She gave the drive to Camille's family because she knows it can't be unseen by the mother. The cops who won't admit that some hacker was able to get the files that they couldn't because they'd look incompetent. Good take. Good take.
Yeah, solid.
Next take is even better.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, this film rewards rewatches and detailed watches. Thank you again for another $10. It's very much appreciated. She might have taken the picture. So the selfie in the bedroom, disturbing selfie, taking the picture to sell and get her money back, or just because she gets her rocks off from being there. Her favorite part of gambling was seeing them lose everything. This is the end result. Yes, I think the line, the very amoral discussion of gambling, I think is very revealing of her character. I think she's being very honest there. And if you haven't seen the movie, folks, it's a line about the basically the gambling is just numbers, but it's all about finding people emotionally hooked into it and then bleeding them dry. So basically, if you get emotionally caught up, you'll lose everything. And that, by the way, is coded into imagery in the film as a danger to her very early on. A danger to Kellyanne, that is. In fact, it's from the first time we see her at her computer. I'm going to have to drop that super chat so I can see it. What do we see on either side of her? Dressed to
Herself
dare.
in the high fashion website and
Yeah.
her playing video high stakes video poker.
Yes, dress to dare. Dressing up to dare. What does she do later?
She dresses to death. Oh my god!
Dun, dun, dun. See, my autism can be used for intense, powerful readings.
Can
But
I?
yeah, it's these two things together. Yeah.
Can I expand that second part of Adam Loves Horrors
yeah.
super
I'll get
chat
that up
about,
again.
about losing everything and the gambling and what you said about that. I want to expand that to Clementine as well, because in a sense she does lose everything. She loses her, namely Ludovic, because at the start of the film she's absolutely convinced that he's innocent, could do no wrong. She would defend him until the cows come home, and gradually through her association with Kellyanne, that belief is slowly drained and whittled away, up until the point where she's presented with the two videos, and at that point, like she knows, like she's lost what she perceived to be almost like the perfect victim. She called him the victim in this film, you know, an innocent man. She lost that innocent man and was faced with the reality that, yeah, actually, he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
She wants autism on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adam Loves Horror's next super chat. When you get time to look up her gamer tag, Lady of Shia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty meaningful.
Can I put a pause on that, because we're about to seek into that with my autism?
Okay.
But sorry, I shouldn't say I'm not autistic.
Before we go on,
I care yes.
The more Kellyanne goes in and goes on her villain arc, she starts getting emotionally invested.
Yes,
and it shows all the way through. She's actually hurt by things, by Clementine leaving, by losing her job. And it comes out, like I said, in the squash court, she's wearing black, and she goes darker, and she actually starts smiling, which is creepy as hell. The 3 times she does it, you're just like, holy crap, she's insane. It
is very disturbing. In the second photo shoot, the dark photo shoot, there's a couple of frames where she's just doing a scary smile to the camera, but I couldn't get a photo of those because they're on screen so briefly.
Yeah. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, the emotional engagement she has. You start out thinking she's obsessed, but it all points to she's solving a mystery. And then you really see her getting involved in it, and she has to prove something either to herself or to the world. And God, the path she takes is absolutely abhorrent. And she doesn't murder anybody, but she trods over everybody's feelings. She crosses so many lines doing it. And just her smugness at the end, especially the selfie. Just, ugh.
She's reveling in the audacity of it. I think on a real level. No, good takes, very good takes on that. I think you nailed it when you said anti-villain. I think that is a key to getting into her head. It's not as simple as she's not Snape, guys. She's not Snape. Oh, turns out all along. No, actually, she's genuinely very dark. But to drop a little more intense analysis on this, at TCG you triggered this, and it'll lead into, something very important. Where is she? Gosh darn it! your favorite scene. There we go. Right. TCG, you talked about Clementine's journey. She sees the video and she gets broken, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you said she kind of loses Ludovic, right?
Right.
What? And I'm taking you on the path here. What's his name? Just again for anyone?
Chevalier.
Yes.
Knight
Ludovic.
Shining Army.
Ludovic Chevalier. Now that was a weird name.
Polish.
Yeah, but
Polish.
you may be familiar with the Ludovico technique.
Yeah.
I don't know many Ludovics, but I've heard of the Ludovico technique because I love me some Clockwork Orange. What's the Ludovico technique? It's when Alex, our protagonist, is broken of his love for Beethoven by being forced to watch horrific imagery.
Oh.
Yeah.
She got Ludovico techniqued. There you go.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a great name. It's a great little clue. See, she was forced to watch video and it broke her love. Now, people are on the money because, of course, Ludovic has a surname, which is Chevalier or Knight, which clues us into some really important lore. You are a smart audience. You've picked up on this already. This is kind of niche, but yes, we get several clues to it. That is clues to the Lady of Shalott. If that means nothing to you, do not worry. It's just that our schools are terrible. So Lady of Shalott, well known in poetry and art. You see her gamer tag is Kellyanne's gamer tag, Lady of Shalott. Her AI is Guinevere. She drinks from a silver goblet. Ludovic Chevalier, Chevalier Knight.
A screensaver as well as the Lady of Shalott, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, screensaver is the background of the most one of the most favorite famous pictures of the Lady of Shalott, the post-death version. But to spell it out, if you do not know, this is a story of the woman who is trapped in a tower and has access to everything she wants, but she must stay within. She creates works, creates art to track her passions, but she gazes out the window and falls in love with a knight. And eventually it overcomes her. She can't stay. She goes outside to seek the knight and then dies because, she was never meant to leave the tower. And the knight finds her body and then she's just unknown to him. The parallels to this are deeply subversive. The parallels here, obviously, Kellyanne is in a high tower. She has everything she wants in here. We see how she basically lives a pod life. She gets her food delivered. She's got her entertainment here. She's got her work. She creates art here. She does her exercise in there.
The only thing she doesn't do is sleep there.
Yeah. But she gets her focused on a chevalier outside and basically destroys herself trying to follow that. It's a very nice little tribute here that they're going to. I'll also mention an extra one. This is a bit nerdy, but if you're ever interested, Waifu is a bit of a Golden Age detective novels expert. And there is a brilliant Agatha Christie Marple story called The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side, a line from the Lady of Shalott poem, which makes another excellent series of references to it. I'll just throw that out there as a bonus for you folks. If you want to look up a very good adaptation of that, The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. There we go. Yeah, extra bonus stuff here. Highfalutin stuff by referencing the Lady of Shalott. It's a nice bonus if people look into it. It's kind of obsession people come to the channel for, but well done for people catching it. There's another aspect I would love to cover. It's the last one of my notes, guys. And it's about the sort of meta story of Clementine. We got close to it, but like our these convos do when you've got such a rich film, these convos can go everywhere. There's like a meta story with Clementine about her arc and about the media. And we talked about it a fair bit, about this excellent scene where she's kind of like basically, even though she's critical, the media gets into her head. She finds herself fighting it. And like the next time we see her, the final time we see her, she's in the TV.
Wearing
And
a very good-looking Freddy Krueger jumper.
Well, there's also the fact that
Accept the facts now, bitch.
Kellyanne is cosmopolitan. She's a high fashion model. Clementine is from 100 kilometers north of Quebec City, which is basically she's the country bumpkin who's come down to speak her truth and find out the truth. And it goes from there.
Oh yeah, there's a definite clash there. And I loved her country bumpkin accent. But Dr. Prepper has nailed it and is clearly thinking on the same lines as me. I thought this was just kind of a neat comment about how you can kind of get drawn in to these battles. Like the danger is you become sort of part of the story, or like effectively the media doing their thing, even if you get mad with them, you kind of get drawn in. And I think that's symbolized by Clementine here. The final thing we see her as is like she's now in the story, like she's been drawn into it. It's sort of fully not, we saw it get into her head, and then she's just now, she's a TV person now. She's been drawn in. She's been taken over, really. And I thought that was a really nice, subtle commentary on it about the danger of engagement with this stuff. And it's, again, no one gets on a soapbox like I do to say this stuff, but it's nice, subtle imagery, and I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
Both TCG, you kind of got on this earlier when you said like Kellyanne and Clementine both sort of talk about different dangers of getting involved in this way with this kind of material.
Oh, 100%. Again, they're like two sides of the same coin, if you will. Like their motives are, I don't know. I mean, I suppose they're almost like, they are quite like the opposites, aren't they? They're like opposites. One seeking truth through getting this guy off the hook. The other one, again, could ultimately and finds the truth and convicts. One's very emotional. One appears to be quite emotionless throughout. Even though sort of like the social backgrounds seem very different, you've got one who's sort of like, economic, socially in the economic ladder, I suppose, who's up there, and then you've got another one down, Clementine's all the way down, sort of like rock bottom. They are the same character, but like almost like parallel universes where every decision they made was the opposite one,
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
They've arrived at this like crossroad, this like sliding doors moment, and I don't know.
Bloody sliding doors reference.
Yeah.
Oh, Gwyneth. Unexpected bit of Gwyneth Paltrowing away in here.
Had to be done.
Banger film.
Yeah, really good.
Oh, Sorry, chat. Sorry. The moments of Britishness will break out on the stream. Rare Brit posting. No, solid take. Honestly, solid take. Well, folks, what was that?
We gooping now, boys.
We gooping for real. Oh dear. Good call. Good call. Oh man. Well, I to stay on the right side of Super Nanny. I don't know if we'll manage it, but did you guys have any other takes on this? I mean, this dense film. I just got a few notes on it, but was there anything else that stood out to you that you'd like to discuss?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. I mean, we're about 3 minutes away from beating the runtime of the film, so we're going to run over anyway.
Oh, sweet, we're going to make it. We always want to outrun the film, you know.
Yeah, it gives the people hope. It gives the people who are trying to find the film online on YouTube full sense of hope. And if you manage to get to this far and you're watching it, you should have read the title properly, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, I started putting reviewing in now.
Yeah.
There has this is an interesting comment.
Oh, okay.
There are quite a few we could have fun. Yeah, the avocado pun. Yes. So that's when they're given, they're eating together, Kellyanne and Clementine, for the first time, and Kellyanne is like spooning the avocado out, and then Clementine mashes it. So you don't like didn't parle avocado. And it's, yes, you don't like avocados / you don't like lawyers. It's a nice homophone there. It's a nice one, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
it skipped me by. When you point it out, I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Sorry, no, French puns passed me by.
There is one thing I do want to comment on, and it's the it's the Alexa type thing that
oh yeah
Kellyanne owns, the Guinevere device. I'm sorry, but she boasts that it's like been custom programmed because typically it sources its information from like Wikipedia, Google, Reddit, etc., and it says some really like racist and effed up things. But I'm sorry, you can't boast about having a custom built AI and being like, I've got it I've swiped all the racism and nastiness from it. If it ain't being racist or throwing out some slurs, it's not properly programmed. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and you've only got
the official one has removed that stuff. You need to add that back in.
No, it's the other way around. No, her custom one, I think she said, was like, it's scrubbed it all. But I mean, look, if you want to see AI done properly, right, you've only got to look as far as Fortnite and Darth Vader. Yeah. And also at the end of the film, because she gets paranoid about that people are onto her with regards to getting the third video. She
the white van parked outside.
Yeah, that's it.
Building.
She blends. She puts that Guinevere thing in the blender, and I'm just thought to myself, "Are you going to drink that?"
Oh, I thought, will it blend?
Yeah.
What's that Microsoft? What's that first Microsoft AI that?
Oh, was it Tay?
Tay, yes.
Yeah. Good old Tay.
The one that went from a general AI to
Kanye
my
posting.
God, turned into a white supremacist who uses the N-word all the time.
Yeah, I mean that's what Darth Vader's doing now. I mean, whatever they're doing now.
Hang on, what is this?
James Earl Jones.
Have you not heard? So,
no.
So you know James Earl Jones. Obviously, he died, didn't he, recently? But before he died, he basically said, like, you know, if you want to use my voice for AI, keep Darth Vader alive, yada yada. More than happy for you to do that, right?
James
Fortnite had this idea of getting the character Darth Vader into Fortnite as an AI. And so they reached out to the family of James Earl Jones and they said, yeah, go for it. We give you our blessing. So they've done that. And so as you're playing the game, you can, I don't know if I don't play Fortnite, but my understanding is at some point you can access that character and he'll sort of like either protect you or he'll protect you, or he'll just be with you for a few minutes, whatever. But at that time, you can actually speak to Darth Vader and have these conversations with him. He's been busting out N-words. He's been doing racial charts, white supremacy stuff. It's
but the other
all together now,
thing,
chat. Based.
The other fun thing, SAG-AFTRA just sued the game company to get voice royalties.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Was it SAG-AFTRA?
SAG-AFTRA. Yeah.
SAG-AFTRA. That's it. Yeah, because they're like, hang on a minute, why aren't we getting paid for this? It's like, well, bugger off, mate.
Oh, what a world. Yeah. Darth Vader. Oh man, what a way to go. Adam Lazara sent in a final super chat. Thank you so much. In fact, prompting us that we should probably move on to closing thoughts and scores for this excellent movie. I'm going to get Adam's score up there, a very respectable 10. 11 if you count It's Unknown. Thanks, Amporna. Thank you, Adam. You've been extremely generous this stream. Extremely generous indeed. Guys, how about you? What are we doing? Closing thoughts and scores.
I've just sent you a link to some Darth Vader clips if you feel brave enough to play on the stream.
No, not a chance.
Oh,
but I will enjoy them later. Tell you what, TCG, how about you lead us off? Closing thoughts and scores.
This was all right. This was. I did say, because I said to you before the stream, because I want to double check to make sure I've got the right film this week. Before I quote potentially waste 2 hours of my life, end quote. But I don't feel like I did actually. This was quite a good, quite balanced actually film. I thought the characters were really good. It was just a shame most of it was in French, man, because I would have liked to have been able to understand what they were saying without the need for subtitles. Well, I suppose you have to just live with that. But I mean, in terms of commentary from a true crime perspective, I do think it does go a little bit. Unmistakably, I do think it goes quite a little bit extreme. in its telling, but I think there is an underlying message there that there is a level of validity to it, and it's something that I personally have been sort of feeling a bit conflicted about myself. And I think I just think it does do a good job. In terms of the characters themselves, Kellyanne, man, honestly, like I've never been so confused about the motives of a character in a film ever, and I thought it was just me. I really did. And then when you two were like, "Yeah, we're not sure either," that tells me that that's what they were intending to do, and they did it obviously to very good effect. So yeah, I overall, I'd probably say about 9 burgers out of 12. Ooh, yeah, solid. It was good. It was good. Definitely good. I genuinely think it's got rewatchability if you just solely for the Kellyanne perspective. If you really wanted to try and sort of deep dive and try and suss out what her actual motivations were, because it does feel very conflicted, and there's just nothing that sort of grounds that gives you a solid, okay, this is what the ultimate goal was, because it's just all over the place, but wonderfully done. Like you got to watch it if you haven't, chat.
Yeah, strong recommendation. Like we've covered, we do full spoiler reviews, but watch it because the experience is very good. Right, well, you're in line. We've got mostly 10s and 9s in there. How about yourself, Murgoot? I'm trying to pressure you at all to be like the cool kids and give it 9 or 10. But
bro, yeah, the cinematography was great. They actually did a good job. Granted, it's not technical, but it's a good layman's overview, and they played it straight with the explanation of the dark web versus deep web and what Tor is meant to be used for and how it's misused. The moral ambiguity and just the emotionlessness of Kellyanne was it's something to be watched to understand it, but it was fascinating, her character arc from emotionless and to when she shows emotion, she's absolutely terrifying. And Clementine's arc was decent. And she was a great counterpoint to Kellyanne. Just the way the subtle things were planted in the film, Lady of Shalott, Chevalier. The courtroom scenes were actually very well done. It didn't romanticize anything. It showed them being effective. There was no real... The drama was there, but it felt real rather than a contrived courtroom scene until Kellyanne just blew things up. The showing Kellyanne's obsession, near obsession, until it broke her, and then it affected her real life. And then I give it a solid 10. Thankfully, no pickles whatsoever. Very, very, very minimal ketchup. Just in a few screenshots. And it was a good character piece. Showing obsession.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, well, a very justified 10. Maybe because I agree with it, but yes, a very justified 10. I like those details. Yeah. There's so much we could talk about, and you're right to draw on the court scenes for the verisimilitude. There's one tiny bit I really loved about them in their long shots. They would occasionally just pan over the victims again, just to remind you. But I like little details, like they had the court sketch artist just sort of sat there doing his job. He's just there where he would be. I like that.
Yeah.
It's a nice little detail.
Well,
they did.
I liked one thing that I forgot about: the groupies in the back row. The original shot. I thought the counterpoint character to Kellyanne was going to be the scene girl with the ponytails and the goth makeup, and she never shows up again after Clementine arrives. It kind of threw me off at first because it's like, yeah, we've got serial killer groupies.
I think that's probably what's going on, but they also just don't have the dedication, the level of obsession that Kellyanne and Clementine do. I guess is what they're kind of poses, if you will. That's my take on it anyway. To wrap up on my end, well, I basically agree. The great summations. I'll probably, to avoid repeating stuff, just say, yeah, amazing character piece. Probably, if you enjoyed the film Censor from, I want to say, 2023 as well, or it could be 2021, but a recent British horror movie called Censor, this is an even better idea of some of the themes in that. It's like funny games for the true crime era. It's horror commenting on things that are in vogue. And it is something that very tastefully, very geniusly manages to bring genuine horrified reactions. Like, this is a horror film, but it gets its horror not from blood and guts, but from how we react to moments like Well, there's only one I can show, isn't there? This was horrifying. Her leaving the memory stick with the parents horrified me. This may be labeled a psychological thriller. It generates actual horror wonderfully. It's very intelligent, brilliant performances. Yeah, highly recommend. It's a I can't pick out a fault. It's an 11. It doesn't have the Todd of Fire, but this is okay, I might go 10.5. I'm going to go 10.5. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't think I can give it the full perfection of an 11, but it's a strong 10.5 for me. And very, very inventive. So there we go. I feel that's awful, isn't it? I don't know why I can't give it the 11, but I don't know. There's one thing missing and I can't put my finger on it, but a very strong recommendation at 10.5 burgers, no pickle, limited ketchup, but very meaty substance in there. There we go. Folks, thank you so much for joining us for the reviews. A mega thanks to Adam for both recommending and requesting this film for a year of membership and for very generous donations throughout the night. Very much appreciated. Yeah, that's two good ones in a row. Very on the recommendation front, both totally unknown to me, so you're doing very well on that. It falls to me now to do announce the horror homework for next week. A sharp contrast to this. We're going from again, I don't know if anyone wants to be named for their request, so I'll generally not say who did it. I don't know if being a member of this channel is that shameful, but our next request for Thursday is Phantom of the Opera. The Rock
Opera?
Which one?
The Rock Opera?
Yes.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that in forever.
I saw the VHS back in my Blockbuster way back in the day. I never took it out, but I was like, hey, Robert Englund in Phantom of the Opera? Yeah. I never had the chance to see it. So when someone requested it, I was like, yes, immediately. So yes, that is your horror homework. The Robert Englund Phantom of the Opera. Don't say you don't get variety on this channel. And I will work out. We had a couple of extra members drop in their requests recently, so there are going to be some Saturday streams to try and get in. And I think we might try and also discuss Hell's Reach for Patrick Batman, who requested it and has been very generous on this channel too. So we might do a quick topic discussion of Hell's Reach as well. So there we go, folks. You've had your review of Red Rooms. You have had your horror homework. We have overrun 2 hours and will face the hellish wrath of Super Nanny. But I think for this film, it was worth it. So massive thanks TCG and Murgoot.
No, thank you very much. Pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff. And chat, thank you again. I hope you got a lovely Friday and wonderful weekend after that. I'll leave it here. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
#Shieldgang.